Hey everyone, it's Niren again from D Automotive Training Center here in Radial Durban North. So today we're talking about diagnostics and diagnostic fault codes. So what does it mean? The engine light comes on, or one of the lights come on our dashboard, and now we're not sure where to start. So when we do run a diagnostic scan, remember you get different types of fault codes. So how do we read those fault codes? A lot of guys read the fault codes, they misinterpret the fault codes. Oxygen sensor mixture too lean. The guys tell you change the oxygen sensor, you replace the oxygen sensor. The fault is still there. It hasn't fixed our problem, but it has costed us a few thousand rands to replace. So very important is to know how to read the fault code on a vehicle. So firstly, remember, just to take you through a few different faults. Remember, we will be covering this module more intensified towards in the month of September when it comes to our online on our online videos that we will be running on Mondays and Wednesdays. But just to give you some information to put you in a picture, remember, when you find a fault code, it normally starts with some type of alphabet. So if you see the letter P, remember P stands for power control. So power control, or your powertrain, means your engine control system. That's your power control modules that are acting out and giving you a fault. So secondly, the B stands for your body. So if you are having anything that relates to the body, anything body related, that will tell you at the end your fault code will start with a B, maybe followed by 3 or 4 different digits after. And lastly, you'll get your C fault codes. So C are your chassis fault codes. You'll get anything on your chassis systems. That's one of them on your chassis lines. And also taking into effect newer vehicles with CAN communication. Remember, communication faults are normally U for undefined, which are your fault codes with your communication lines. So also there after that we get different numbers. So always remember. So for example, if we get the number P, so firstly P and then followed by the number 0. 0 is a generic fault code. But more after that, if you're looking at the numbers, so number one normally stands for your emission, meaning your air fuel ratio. So your air fuel ratio. Then you got number 2. Number 2 is followed by your injector circuit or your fuel and air. Number 3 could be an ignition or misfire on a vehicle. Number 4 normally stands for your emissions control. Number 5 is your vehicle speed and idle control. Number 6, compute and output circuit. Number 7, transmission. Yeah, so that's just a few fault codes that we need to be wary about. But remember, we will be touching a lot on this here when it comes to our fault finding module, taking you through some of the basic things and some of the mistakes that we tend to make when we're reading a fault code. Remember, sometimes reading an open circuit fault might not necessarily mean that the component is faulty. It could mean that the wiring has a break in the line. If we're having voltage too low, we need to look at why is the voltage too low. If the signal's improbable, we need to look at why is the signal improbable. So these are just a few things we're going to take our learners through and we're going to address when we are doing our fault finding module. So yeah, if you're looking to find out more about the fault finding side, follow us and yeah, we'll keep you up to date when we are running this here. But always remember, when doing a diagnostic, ensure you're doing a diagnostic with someone who knows how to do diagnostics. A lot of guys have OBD scanners, a lot of guys do diagnostic fault finding, but if you do not do diagnostic fault finding in the right and correct manner, it could become a very costly affair and end up costing you thousands of rands just to repair something where you could have maybe just a poor ground, you could have an open circuit or a short circuit or a poor connection in one of the wires, but you end up changing components. So it's very important to know exactly how to read the fault code. A very important thing also, when you get a fault code, research the fault code. Do some research behind the fault code. Look at what are the known fixes for that vehicle. Look at if there's any technical bulletins out there, because a lot of manufacturers, when they do find that there's a problem, they do put out technical bulletins that can notify mechanics and notify clients if you do get a specific fault code. It could direct you maybe what could be wrong. Maybe you could have a poor ground circuit or a faulty wire that could be grounding or shorting against something else. So let's be wary about that. Let's save some money and let's make sure that the next time we're doing a diagnostic, we do our research. test 10 things, rather test 10 things and then change one than doing it the other way. Change 10 things, test once, cost you a lot of money. So that's just something to be mindful for. So yeah, we will take our learners through in time to come with regards to this. Yeah. Cheers now. Take care. Bye bye.